Morning. It's raining. Think we got our clover seed done. Well, we've got to get this finished up today. I don't know if we'll get it out of here because it's raining, but we'll see what we can do. So Phil worked on getting some hoses put on yesterday while I was doing clover seed, I guess. So he's got them all attached here, good, I guess. And we had that one done. I think he got the center one routed good, but he wasn't sure where this one, how it made it out to that wing. So we got to finish that up. Well, I don't know how exactly that hose was routed. Brock took it off, but I figured out how it's got to go. At first I had it coming back here farther, and it kind of draped on these openers, and I don't like that. Over here it was easy because there's a clamp there and a clamp there that it has to go through with that crossing where the fold is. So that I figured out. Then it was just a matter of how do we route through here. Tried it back farther, didn't like that. Went around the front, and it was just too short. I didn't mind it laying up there, but couldn't quite make it connect, so we split the difference and came right through the middle. So that hose comes off the back there, comes up, and then is this one that drapes all the way through right there. And I think that will work just fine. So I need to get everything tightened up and good, tighten some clamps, and we should be good in here. Just looking at the hoses coming off of this initial distributor here. This one's rubbing there. I don't know if I like that. I mean, it's not hard rubbing into it, but it's not great. I cannot get this to move, however, to pivot it out from it, so I don't know if I can do anything about it. I could move it to this port, maybe. But then I gotta take it all back apart. I think I'm going to run it and watch that, check it again throughout the year and next year. And if it looks like it's starting to wear into the hose, we'll have to do something about it. I could try and get a little piece of rubber and shove it in there or something, wrap the hose. But it's just touching it. It's not really rubbing, and this hose doesn't move there. So I think it'll be okay. All right, I think we need a few zip ties yet, but I got the clamps tight. Everything should be in pretty good shape here. But I wanted to take a minute and talk about this bar a little bit. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring it in here was to make sure that we can make this truly a 15 knife or 15 row bar and not 16. And let me explain, right? So we've been planting our corn with a 16 row planter. So when we bought this Anhydrous applicator, we bought a 15 Shank applicator, 15 row, whatever you want to call it. And the reason that you do an odd number is because we are going between the corn rows for side dress, right? So when we plant corn, when we were using this tractor with dual tires, we always had a row that got planted in that space between the duals, right in between those tires, right? And that was because you want to drive between the rows, not on the rows. Well, when we're coming into side dress, that row is running right through there again. Well, we can't put the nitrogen right there. We have to go in the middle. So the knives actually follow directly behind the tires, that one and this one, which means that we're offset. So instead of two rows going between the tires in the center, you just have one right in the middle, and then you have a corn row and a corn row, which is why we have the odd numbers, because we're offset. And so in order to stay centered on the planter pass so that those tires run in the exact same place that they would have when we planted the corn with a 16-row planter, you run odd number of rows, therefore 15. Could do 17, but 17 adds one on each side and it gets a little bit longer. Deere does not make this style of bar in a 17 Shank. Okay, so 15 it is. Problem then becomes when you do that, there's a corn row right here, okay? The next planter pass corn row is over here. What do you do with this gap in the middle? Can't put any nitrogen in there. So what ends up happening is that we skip a row, okay? Drop my sunglasses. Anyway, so we've got a corn row right here. We skip a center, the pass that goes between the planter passes. It's our guess row. And then we have another row from the next planter pass, and then the knife, that one, when you turn around, runs down over here. But essentially, there's one right in the middle that does not get any nitrogen put on that. Well, that's a problem, right? You can't not put nitrogen on a row, the rows next to it would only get half as much as they're supposed to because we're putting it between every row. So theoretically, that row that's running right through here, right, it's pulling half of its nitrogen from that applicator and half from that one. Make sense? Makes sense. Well, when you have this row out here that only has nitrogen on one side of it, it's shorted. Okay, so how do we compensate for that? Well, what we do on this bar is we run a second hose out here. So every other one, we have one hose. This one, we have two hoses. They go right down through the boot there in that applicator, and so we're putting on more anhydrous on this row. Now, we're not putting on a double rate. We're putting on a rate and a half, okay? That gets us the proper amount, and so we have this one here. This is row 1, which is our half rate, and there's an orifice in there that kind of restricts the flow so you get half as much. Theoretically then, putting on the extra half that this outside row needs. Makes sense. Here's the problem. This corn row doesn't know, actually it's this corn row, the one that goes through here, doesn't know that it's only supposed to take what it's supposed to take and that there's actually more for the outside row here. So they end up splitting it. And so while you're putting a rate and a half in here, you're actually giving this row a rate and a quarter because it's pulling half from over here and half from over here. And it's getting a 3/4 rate and a half rate. That's a rate and a quarter. And then this one over here is just getting a 3/4 rate. And I have seen in my pinch row compaction studies where my outside rows on that 16 row is a 12 bushel drop one year, a 27 bushel drop the other year, this row compared to this one. So now we're running a 24 row planter. What do? First of all, we're no longer running in the tire tracks. The tractor is not going to be in the same tracks that it was when we planted because we're offset. We can't do that. Now, 3 planter passes equals 2 passes with a 16 row applicator. That is true. So we would always be in the same rows, and we would always have that guest row right down the middle of the tractor on every other pass. But is that really how we want to do this? I don't know that it is. And what we can do, we're not going to go to a 23 row because I couldn't pull it. We'd have to buy a new tractor. And we could go down to 11. So these 2 outside rows here fold up. You can leave them folded up, run this as an 11, do it like we've been doing, except for you have 2 passes per planter pass instead of, 3 per 2, it's 2 per 1. Anyway, it would slow us down a little bit because we're doing less rows at a time. And you're still not following the same tracks as we did with the planter because now you're offset halfway on each side. So that doesn't really solve that problem. So what I am proposing and what we're going to try this year is that we just shut this half rate off. Okay? So I wanted to make sure we had a valve here. We do. It was already here. But I can close this valve. That shuts off my half rate. When I do that, and then I tell the computer in there, hey, we're no longer applying 40 foot of nitrogen. We're not covering 16 rows. We're only covering 15, 37 and a half feet. It'll adjust the rate across the whole bar, but every row will get the exact same. And we don't have to skip that row. So are we going to follow the planter tire tracks? Nope, we're not. We're not going to be in the planter tracks at all. In fact, the guest row is going to move across this bar because we're going to be 1 short. We're going to essentially cover 45 rows instead of 48 on every 3 passes, and it's just off. It slows us down slightly because we're covering 1 less row, but every row gets the same amount of nitrogen. We don't have that skipped pass. We don't have that one that's trying to get a rate and a half but is really getting a 3/4 rate kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to do it or not. That's how we're going to do it. I talked to a neighbor of ours who they're making the same jump this year, going to a 24 row. They've already been doing it that year. Even when they were running a 15 shank applicator with a 16 row planter, they weren't doing the half rates. They were just doing it as a 15. So I think that's how we're going to try this. If we had a 17 shank applicator and we had that row outside, it would just put the half rate on, right? You would take the half rate hose from the number 15 here, move it out to what would then be 17, and instead of that coming down the next row, it would come right back down. You would apply that same row twice, putting a half rate on twice. That would solve this issue as well. It would take a 25 row bar in order to do that with the 24 row planter. It's just not possible. 13 in theory would work. But the way this bar folds, you can't do 13. You can do 11 or 15. We're going to do 15. We're going to do a straight 15. But what do I do on my end rows? Frustrating, right? So on our end rows, we've got we're going to have 3 passes because we're going to have 48 end rows. And so what I think that I'm going to actually have to do is turn the half rate valve on, do my end rows, and then turn it off to go across the field. Otherwise, there's going to be 3 rows that don't get nitrogen, and it just complicates things a little bit. So we're going to make it work, but there's, again, a learning curve, just like with the planter, a learning curve. Okay, I have got to go run some errands and drop some papers off and do some stuff. So we're going to go do that, grab some lunch. We'll come back and see what we can find to do this afternoon, probably down in the seed warehouse because it's raining outside. Okay, I'm back. We're going to work down here in the seed warehouse for a little bit. Try and sort through this long row and maybe do some more treating. So we gotta put these boxes away. These are the ones we treated a couple days ago. Get them stacked up and off to the side somewhere. But look at this. So I let my sales rep, Tony, ship his plot seed in for his entire territory to my location, and then he sorts it out from here. And he has been here the last couple of days. In fact, he's just now leaving. Sorting out plot seeds. So all of this is different corn plots for different customers, different dealers, different whatever. He's got them all labeled to where they need to go, and then he'll start distributing. He already has started distributing some, but start getting them taken to where they need to go. My pile he put over here. So this pallet is our plot seed. So we've got the corn down there. The beans are the blue bags for the plots that will go right out here behind and next to the seed warehouse. So, and then we've got these 2.5 bags here. This is a new hybrid for 24. We'll launch this fall. They got me 2.5 bags for some trial seeds. So we're going to do a high management plot kind of thing where we're gonna use that hybrid plus one of the other hybrids that I've got. Some 10L16s, one that's been good for a couple years now. That one's also 110 day, and we're gonna plant them side by side, split planter, and we're gonna take one strip and do some high management stuff to it. And what I mean by that is things like my V5 fungicide, VT fungicide. I was talking to Wade when he was up here earlier this week about it, and I said, well, you know, a lot of the stuff that I do is standard practice. Most people would consider high management, right? And he's like, yeah, so we're going to back off on some of that. So like we're going to put the 2x2 fertilizer on the standard, but not the in-furrow stuff, and consider that to be high management. And then we're going to use some of the foliar products and stuff on the high management one, but not the standard procedure one, and just kind of see how each hybrid responds to different management styles, because we'll have 2 hybrids in 2 different treatments. And also how much of a difference the high management side of stuff makes compared to the standard management that would be kind of the general, you know, this is the bare minimum that you have to do to raise a corn crop. If you do all these added steps, how much of a gain can you get from it, kind of thing. So we're gonna test that. Pretty sure day one of forklift school says don't lift up more than you have to, especially things that are super tall. I do it anyway because my forklift can. So we got 2 boxes. Anyway, I've got these pretty well sorted. I've got them in piles by customer. So those 2 boxes behind this and these 2 that I'm setting right here go to a customer. The 4 boxes next to it right there go to a different customer. We've got that grouping there that goes to a customer. And then those 4 there actually go to 2 customers, the 2 and the 2. And then this one here is a single box that goes to its own customer. Although we got another 20 bags that go with it. And all of those, except for 1 or 2, have more paper bags that we need to sort through. Some corn, some beans. So next week that's going to become a priority when we have decent sunny day. And trying to get some seed delivered and clear this stuff out. Because all of those customers, except for 1, I have 1 box that I need to treat for 1 of these customers. Other than that, all of their beans are ready to go. So now, where can I put this that is out of the way? Right over here, I guess. All right. I sorted through that big, long line. We moved some, put them over here, ones that need higher treatment than what we're putting on right now. And I left see, like those 4 boxes there? They go with this customer, but they're part of that same variety. Anyway, these are the ones we're gonna treat today. And check this out. Look at this. I got my TV working. Some Brian's farming videos on while we're working here. You guys should do the same with Borderview Farms here, right? So we gotta get these all opened up. There is, what do we got? At least 4 different varieties here. 3 of them are single box runs because that's all the customer had. It is what it is. It'll be fine. Hey, you guys, watch this. He's got some good advice. You ready?
Since we're right by the big tank, I'll run that truck out of fuel. I'll wait on Dad to get here, folks. This would be a great time for you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and give this video a thumbs up if you are liking it or have liked the previous videos. You know, show some support. That'd be great.
Good advice, Brian. Do that. All right, I have got our pumps recirculating, and I've got this one recirculating. I think we're going to drain a keg with this run. We've got 8 boxes here to treat, so I'm just getting everything mixed up so we can pump some chemical into there and get it ready to go. I suppose I could set a box up here. All right, we are pumping our chemical, and we need just under 5 gallons clear up here. So I don't know if we're gonna have that much in this tank or not, or in that tank that just ran empty. All right, well, we'll make it empty and we'll see how far we get. Okay, I don't think we've got enough in there. We've got right around 3 gallons, so we'll get our empty out of there, get the next one circulating so we can pump it in there when we need it. But we got enough to get started. We've got enough water to get started. We've got enough glitter to get started. So we're gonna have to pause the videos because I can't hear when I'm running this. I think everything is good to go. Plus, we don't need to be distracted any more than we already are. We need to prime to the atomizer. We'll turn our agitation off and prime until we see it flow up this hose. Well, that isn't gonna work because we're recirculating here. Move this and move this. There we go. Now it should start moving. I think we're good. A little bit more. Yep. All is good. Red beans with glitter on them. So, all right, let's get this mixing. Cut number 2. The unfortunate thing about doing 5 different varieties in 8 boxes is it's a lot of cleaning out. So we got to clean out our treater between every one of them to keep our cross-contamination to a minimum. Yeah, it's a pain. But it'll be okay. Oh, we have used up a thing of glitter. Alright. I'm going to have to dump another box in. Another bag, something. Might try this other stuff. This is a different brand, basically. Same stuff, different brand. Okay, so this other brand, or this other stuff that I got, like I said, I'm pretty sure they're identical products, just different brand, but it comes in a different style bag. It's a lot heavier. It treats a lot more units. It doesn't all fit, right? But it is a sealed bag. Instead of these other ones that were just zip tight on the top, they were totally open. This one is sealed, so I was able to cut just a small hole. I feel like that went better. I feel like it went better. It didn't spill any, and it didn't poof all over quite so bad. So far, slight advantage to this one. Very slight. I still hate them both. There's just a cloud of glitter. Anyway, we're on box number 5. I finally got to a run where I had 3 boxes that were the same variety, so I don't have to clean out between every one of them. That's kind of nice. We got 3 more to go over here. That one's the same as what we're doing. These 2 are both their own. They're both different, so I have to clean out for both of those. But yeah, this is what we do. It's going well. It's smooth. It's fine. For this particular customer, this first row of boxes here is theirs. There are more that get just this base treatment, including these next 3 boxes here. And then I'm not sure exactly what is in behind there, but there are more that get this. He has somewhere we're going to put the heads up on it. He has somewhere we're going to put some Saltro on it. And so I'm trying to get all the straight Cruiser Max Apex ones done first. Can you guys tell the difference between the beans in this box and this box? Oh yeah, you can see the There's a couple glittered ones in here, but these are the ones that mostly got, or had run out. And then with it. They really look more orange in the film than they are in real life. But that's the difference. And then this is the new powder stuff. I'm pretty happy with them. They look pretty nice if you ask me. You can see the different seed size makes in beans. All of these boxes have the same number of beans in them. Look how full these ones are compared to those. Smaller seed size in those far boxes than these ones, and these are bigger than those, and yeah, just they fill the boxes fuller when they're larger beans. Last box on a Friday afternoon. Cheers. Turn my light off. All right, well, good enough for today. So we'll come back. Probably not tomorrow, but maybe Monday. We'll come back and try and get the rest of the beans treated for that particular customer. I was going to look on my sheet here and see how many more with the base treatment does he get. All right, so we got those 120 done. We got those 40 done. Did not do those. Did not do those. We got that 40 done. We got that 80 done. We got that 40 done. So that leaves us with 120 and 120. Should be 240 and another 120. 360. 9 boxes. So we got another 9 boxes of the base treatment stuff for him. So be another full run. Maybe we can dig them out and do them Monday morning or something like that. I don't know. That's the plan. So if it's Saturday morning when you're watching this and you're very early watching it after it's released, go check out my live stream. Catch that live. Probably at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Might be at 1. I don't know. I'm hoping to have the office to myself and nobody else in there because it'll be awkward if I'm doing a live stream and there are people in the background. That's the holdup. Anyway, we're going to do an agronomy live start of a series that's going to happen as I have topics to talk about. This one is going to be on prescription maps and planning process, the computer work that we do to get ready for the year as far as all of my trials and prescriptions for seeding rates, for fertilizer, for nitrogen, for all of the different things that we're doing. So check that out. If you missed it live, go back and watch it and let me know what you think of this stuff. We'll go from there. So have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you when we see you.